everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to highlight those key changes which happened last week during the Microsoft build, and those changes are related to tools, agents and the knowledge bases. So earlier, if you have used Azure AI Foundry, things were totally different than how you can do the same thing on Microsoft Foundry. So today's video is all about what are the changes, how we can go ahead with those changes, and how can we perform every single thing on the portal. So we will not be going through the code, but we'll try to finish most of the things on the portal itself. So let's get started. So if you haven't seen my earlier video, I would recommend you to go and check that out, because that earlier video was about the major changes which happened on the entire Foundry site. Okay, so in order to get started with today's exercise, I have already created a resource group here, which is an East US, and now I'm going to create a new instance of Microsoft Foundry. So this is the new feature which you can see. So earlier it was Azure AI Foundry and now it is Microsoft Foundry. So we'll go ahead and select the resource group, and I will name it as temp East US Foundry. We can leave the project name as it is, that's okay. And let's skip all of these settings, as we are just planning to take a look on what is new on Foundry. So I clicked on next and it is taking a little bit of time. Okay, so validation failed. Seems I need to change the name. So let's go. This name already exists. Let's append this. Okay. Now it will go ahead and create a new resource of Microsoft Foundry. Now it's going to take hardly a few seconds. Okay, so we can see that provisioning is going on, deployment is in progress. So let's give it a few more seconds and it should be ready. Okay, so we have our resource ready. Let's go ahead and go to Foundry portal. So here you can see, so if you're opening it for the very first time, you would see the portal something like this, which is the older one. But if you want to move to new portal, then you have to toggle this button for new Foundry and you will see something like this now. And this is the point where we can get started. So all these options, discover, build, operate, and these things I have already explained in my earlier video. So let's quickly jump on to the agent creation part. So I will click on create agent here. And you will see very interesting thing now. So let's name it as temp SH agent, and it will be very quick this time. Okay, so you can see that your agent is ready, and this time you didn't deploy any models. So if you remember last time, whenever we were deploying or creating an agent, first it was asking us to deploy the model if it is not already there. But with this new Foundry, you need not to do that. That thing is completely skipped. So it went ahead and just deployed the model for us, which is GPT-4 mini. And these are the other models. If you want to select, you can click on that and it will automatically go ahead and provision that for you as well. And there are other models which you can see, browse more models. So I'm not going to do that. Let me quickly say hi and check if it's actually working. Perfect, so it is working. And the new things which you can see over here is the chat, which you must have already seen, but there is a new option YAML. So this was not there earlier, but they have provided the YAML file so that it makes your agent deployment and orchestration very, very easy. And here are the information, here is the information related to your agent. So if you are providing any instruction over here, definitely it will appear over here. This is the model name and when it was created. So this is the version 1. Now whenever you are doing even a minor change in your agent, it will go ahead and update this version to 2. So make sure that you are not doing unnecessary changes if you don't want to upgrade your version. So next thing here is, let's say, the tools part, which is the most important one, and I'm going to discuss that today. So click on add, and this time you can see many things over here. So coming on to this configured one. Before that, I can show you the easiest option. So let's click on the upload files. I clicked on this upload file, and here I am just giving one file, which is the Contoso benefits. You can even download it from the internet. And what it is doing is it is reading our file and creating a vector out of it. So instead of we doing everything, the system is doing for us. Click on attach, and it will go ahead and attach that vector with this particular agent. So now you can see vector store is created and it is associated with this particular agent, and here is the name of the index. So let's go ahead and ask something. I would say, tell me about the, I need to type it here. Tell me about the benefits. And here you can see it got the benefit for us from the Contoso electronics. So if you want to see how it looks like, this is the file I have downloaded, and these are the various plans and the schemes which are available for us, and these are the things which are directly pulled up from there. So here you can see how nicely it was able to do it without spending much of time on creating vectors and uploading the files. So on the bottom you can see the citation part. So if you will click on read more, you will be able to see the snippet from which this information was fetched. So definitely this is not the entire file, but it does contains a section which is used for answering this particular question. So there are 2 different parts in the same document. So here you can see 2. Now this is the model name which we are using, and the same you can see on the top left as well. 6.2 seconds it took to answer our query, and these are the number of tokens which are used as an input and output. So you can definitely check it here. And then comes the tool name. So we are using file search tool, so it is appearing over here. And then we have the debug. So inside debug, if you sent multiple requests, like first we sent hi, then we sent something else, so you can check everything about that over here. It is just a high level stuff which can guide you like what is happening inside. Then you have the metadata, which will talk a little bit about the duration and the tool. So here you can see the kind is tool. It means the answer was provided to us using the tools. Okay, so this is one thing. Next thing is I am going to talk about other tools. So if you will click on add, you will see a whole bunch of tools over here. The very first one here is under the configured, and it is code interpreter. So whenever you want to run your own code or own function, then you can utilize this particular tool. Then we have the Azure AI search. So let's say you have already configured something in your search and indexed your data, vector is created, then you can directly plug in this particular Azure AI search as a tool. Then we have the grounding with the Bing search. So for that you need to have your connection. If you are planning to do that, here you can see you need to provide all this information and the connection string. Then let me remove this. Oh, sorry. Go back to add new tool. Okay. And then we have the web search. If you want to search anything over the internet, then this is the tool which can help you. We do have the computer use. So let's say you want to automate something on your computer. Instead of you are moving your mouse and filling out the forms, you can utilize this computer use tool. But the restriction here is you can't use it directly. You need to have a special permissions from the Microsoft in order to access this tool. So let's say if I am clicking on this and saying computer use, add tool. So this is what it is. So you need to make sure that you have all the required permission in order to interact with this tool. So just check out the documentation if you are planning to use this particular tool. Then we have for Fabric related stuff. So let's say you have something in your OneLake, Power BI related stuff, then you can directly plug in here as a tool. We do have a one for SharePoint linking. So the only restriction here is you need to make sure that your SharePoint is in the same tenant. So if it is not in the same tenant, it may not be able to talk with your agent. And the next one is the browser automation, which is specifically when you want to automate something, you want to run some tests, then this could be the feature you should look into. Coming on to the catalog, so here there are many things. I have already highlighted this in my previous section, so I will not talk much about it, but the key thing here is it's all about MCP. So here you can see a few categories: remote, local, and the custom. So if you're going for remote, so it means that your things or the MCP server is already hosted by the third party, and you just need to make a call. So you need not to deploy or run anything. Everything is already up and running. Just connect that remote server using these options, whatever your utility is. Accordingly, you can select this and go ahead and do this. Then we have the local MCP. It means that it's your responsibility to make your server up and running, and all the arrangements, whatever is required to run your MCP server locally, that you have to take care of that. Then we have the third category, which is custom. So these are, you can consider these as a logic app connector. So whenever you want to do something like sending an email, updating your mailbox, or filtering your data somewhere, then you can use these connectors. So maybe I can highlight these later on by going through the specific connectors. So here you can see these are the policies. There are company related policies. If you want to access that, then you can directly use these logic app connectors and do that thing. Coming on to the custom, so these are mainly used when you want to have your own implementation. So you have your own API running somewhere, then you can go with OpenAI API tool. You have already hosted your MCP server somewhere, then you can go with MCP. And the third one is for agent to agent scenario. So these are the key tools which you can use it. Let's move on to the another one, which is the knowledge, and I believe it's the most important and the easiest thing we can do using this Foundry. So we will use knowledge base for grounding information. Let's say you have your own document and you want your responses to be from that document only. Then in that case, you have to use a knowledge feature. So click on this, and here you have two different options. The very first one is connect to Foundry IQ. So this is the new feature which was not there earlier. And what it does is you need to, so whatever the knowledge bases you are adding as part of Foundry IQ, it will be available for all the agents which are present in this particular project. So let's say you are developing an application having multi-agent scenario. So in that case, all your agents can access to this centralized database or the centralized store where all your knowledge bases are available. And I believe this is one of the greatest enhancements when you are working with knowledge bases. So instead of juggling here and there between different namespaces or different databases, you just come to this and your all the knowledge bases pertaining to this project will be at single place. So let's go ahead and try this out. So connect to an Azure AI search resource. So for this you need to have an instance of Azure AI search. So you cannot continue without that. So what you can do is, I will go ahead and first of all create an instance. So you can do it from there as well, but I personally like to do it from here. So let's name it something temp AI search and resource should be in East US. Pricing tier, I will go with the free one because I just want to show you what is happening here rather than actually executing anything. So click on create. There are multiple ways to do it. So one way is you can create a search instance here. You can create storage instance, push in some file and then merge it over here. Another thing is, if you don't know anything, let's go with the flow what portal is suggesting. So instance is ready. Let's go back and I will try to add it again. So connect to an AI search resource. Let's save it. And this is the new page which will pop up, and here this time you can see it is showing you the instance which we just created. But note that at this point we haven't pushed in any data or we haven't created any vectors inside this particular search instance. It means it's totally empty right now. But let's go with the flow, assuming that you don't know anything when to do what. So I just created an instance of Azure AI search. Then what you need to do is you need to create a knowledge base. Now for creating a knowledge base, there are multiple options. So either if something is already there, you can pull it. If it's not, you can also pull it from the blob storage, from web, OneLake. So these are the various options available for creating a knowledge base. And on the bottom, you can see these are through the tools, you can do the same thing. Now let's say you want to try out this blob storage. Now at this point, I would really recommend that you go and create your instance outside and just furnish it here. It would be very easy. Otherwise, you can also go ahead and do this. So let's give it a few seconds. And I would name the storage account as, let's not give hyphen or anything here. Okay, East US, and storage type I would go with the blob storage. I don't want any kind of redundancy right now, so review plus create. Click on create. Let's give it a few seconds. Meanwhile, I will show you something here. So once it is done, you also need to have a container name. So what I would suggest is when you are on this portal here, just go ahead and create the container using this page itself. So it will be like less to and fro for you. Refresh it. Cool, so it's done. Let's go to storage browser and we'll create our own container first, wherein we will push our document. So this is the container, and here I'm going to, I didn't remember the name, let's say benefits options. So benefit options, this is the file I want to upload, and it's the same file which I have showed you here. Okay, so it's uploaded, we are good to go. Let's close this one and come back to this. So I'm going to select my storage account. If you want, you can, I mean, when you are working with production scenario, definitely you need to enable it, but let's go ahead without this. And this is the store container name which we just created, and here we have the different extraction modes. So when you are selecting minimum, it would be like, let me show you here. So choose minimal for faster and cost effective way to extract the data. But when you are going with the standard mode, it's a full content extraction, and it's going to take some time for parsing and additional, and it will cost you extra. So you can try with both of these options, whichever is working for you, and then select accordingly. But definitely you should choose the minimal one first if it works. Then it is asking about embedding models. So if you remember earlier in the older Foundry, we used to deploy our embedding model, but in this case you need not to do it. You can either choose it from the available deployed models, or you can choose it the popular models or browse any models. So it's very easy, everything is in like at one place. So let's go ahead and it will go ahead and deploy. So you're not going in and out of this page. Select the model and then you can select which one do you want to use. I will stick with the mini. Okay, these are the advanced option. If you want, you can configure this, but let's skip it for now. It is saving our knowledge base, and here you can see it is creating. If you want, you can provide some summary so you will get to know that what this knowledge base is all about. You can create new using this particular option, but let's go with this one and save it. You can see it is still in creating mode, and I need to select my model here. Okay, so let's see once it is in completed mode. It is still creating. We need to give a few more seconds. So I will quickly come back and see. So now the status is active, it means it's all good. Let's go back to our agent, and here I can add knowledge base. So seems it is still in progress. There may be few things here and there which may not work as expected, because I believe work is still in progress to make this thing very seamless. So let me see if it is appearing over here. Okay, so here I need to select the knowledge base. So this is the one which we just created, and here you can see it is appearing. Now to avoid the confusion, I will go ahead and delete this, because we have used the same document in both of these scenarios, tools and the knowledge base. Now I will go ahead and provide some instructions. So answer all the questions based on the knowledge bases you have. So this is just a very generic one. Definitely you need to tweak it if you want to do it with your production workload. And now if I will go ahead and query, it will still not pick, but it will give you the idea like what is happening, and then I will tell you what is wrong with the scenario. So tell me about health benefits, let's say. And like I said, everything here is MCP, so it should go ahead and ask me something for the approval or my consent. So here you can see it is asking me for approval. It means it is actually an MCP which is running. Now if I will go ahead and approve it, still you may not be able to see the results. See, so this is not we are expecting. It just grabs something randomly from somewhere and just spit it out. And the reason why it is not working is, if you remember, I selected free tier, but when you are working with such kind of scenario, you have to go with at least the basic plan. So if you are selecting the basic plan, it will definitely go ahead and give you the proper result. So right now this particular flow is not, I would say, you cannot use a free tier for this particular kind of flow where you are utilizing knowledge bases with your agents. So make sure that you don't do that mistake. And I intentionally chose that one so that I can show you that although it is trying to invoke my, or it is trying to access my MCP server, but still things are not up to the mark. So that is the one flow. But if you're going with the basic, standard, or even the higher, things would work as expected. Let's move on to the third one, which I think it's good to highlight, although I didn't plan for it. So there is something called a memory. So this is newly introduced, and I'm sure we must have not seen in the previous version anywhere. So in the Foundry portal, we can enable the memory feature with just a single click. So just toggle it, and it will go ahead and create a memory store for it. So this memory store will be automatically created and configured for our current agent in which we are enabling it. So if you want your advanced scenario or customizations, then we need to go with APIs and SDK to get started. But the one which I am enabling it is the very straightforward and the default flow. Now how it works is, so it extracts only the information which actually matters. So whatever the chatting we are having on the right hand side, it will see that what is actually useful or the meaningful. So whenever user interacts with an agent, system will automatically extract the key information such as your user preferences, your facts, your relevant information from the conversation, and it will go ahead and record those. So let's say we are talking about personal favorites, and somewhere I mentioned that I love beaches as my favorite sport. Then in that case, it will just record it that sport is beach. So these are the keywords or the way it will go ahead and just push it into its memory, so that next time whenever I am trying to discuss the similar thing, it will pick it from there. So it will consolidate the information which is actually relevant rather than dumping this entire text as it is. And later on it uses LLM to merge or similar or the duplicate topics, so the agent won't get the redundant information in its store. Now the most important thing here is it retrieves whenever it is needed, because it is using hybrid search techniques to find the most relevant memories. So this allows agent to quickly surface the right context and making our conversation feel very natural and informed. So that is the one part. And second part is, when you're talking about the memory store, it actually comes in two flavors. The first one is the short-term memory, and the second one is long-term memory. So short-term memory tracks the current session's conversation and maintains immediate context for our next or the ongoing interactions. So whatever I am chatting in this particular session will be considered as my short-term memory. Now, if you have heard of Microsoft Agent Framework, which is very popular these days, so that typically manages this memory as part of the session context. Again, Microsoft Agent Framework is a very interesting topic. I would recommend you to go and check out my whole playlist on that, so you will get to know what it is and whether it is really useful for you. Coming on to the long-term memory distills knowledge across the sessions, and because of that definitely requires persistent system to manage the knowledge. So keep that in mind, because that would incur extra cost for you. So that's all about the memory, and I will try to come up with a completely new or different video in which I will just talk about the memory, but let's keep it with this high-level overview. Then we do have the guardrails here. So let me show you. So here we have three options: assign, create, and edit. So I will go ahead and click on the assign guardrail. So on the left hand side you have two options, default and the default v2. These are the two versions basically. So when you are going for default, you have just these four options. If you want only these four to be enabled for your agent, just click on assign. But if you are looking for a little bit more, then version 2 is having these many options. You can go with jailbreaking, you can go with protected material for code, and just click on assign. This is one flow and a very straightforward to assign the guardrail, which is, I believe it's very easy. So earlier it was on the left hand side panel where we are going to and fro with our agent, but this time no need to switch here and there. Everything is in one place. Let me show you how you can create a new guardrail. So let's save it. And okay, so click on new guardrail and it will show you this particular dialog. You can select what kind of risk you want to mitigate, and here you can select, like, you are not forced to select all of these because it is the custom version now. So you select whatever you want, and from here you select again whatever you want, select your agent model, review, and you are good to go. So this is another way to create guardrails. Again, it can be a very big topic, so I will not try to push everything in this one. But yeah, so my overall idea was to give you how you can connect these tools and the knowledge bases along with the memory to your agent. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and do let me know which topic do you want me to do next. Thanks for watching.